then I said, that's the thing about 20 minutes out, and then the shrimp, and then the full sausage.
Yeah, yeah, very well. They had settled apart.
That's my favorite part.
Well, I think she
That's my favorite part.
I got like,
Shrimp is my favorite part. I don't like it dry.
and you know what she said? Which I love her. She said, well, you like the she said,
I don't like it. I like it. I thought she was going to serve around.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock and we'll get started. The board and I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We greatly appreciate it. We have Brother Murray Kimball from Faith Baptist Church. He's going to open our meeting up, sir.
Thank you. Let's pray. Father, we do love you. Lord, we thank you so much for this opportunity to come, Lord, here together. Lord, I pray as we come tonight, Father, you would be with these aldermen, Father, and with the mayor. Lord, I pray, God, you be with him. And God, each one of these men, as they try to lead and direct this city the way that they know best for our best interest, I pray, God, you help them to do that. I pray they follow your leading. Lord, I pray that, Lord, us as city members, Father, would want to, Lord, get more involved in our local city, Lord, all that goes on. I pray to help us to, again, follow you in all that we do. Bless the meeting here tonight. Bless decisions made. May your presence be felt. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Paul, would you lead us in the planning blue?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda for tonight will be the minutes from last meeting. Those are in your packet. Is there any deletions or additions to those minutes? If not, they'll need board approval. Motion by Paul Simpson, second by John Pendleton. Any further questions? Amy, call the roll.
John Pendleton.
Yes.
Johnny Norris.
Yes.
Paul Simpson.
Yes.
Edward Smith.
Yes.
Chris Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is the financials over in your packet. Those also will need board approval. Motion by Edward Smith, second by Johnny Norris. Any further questions? Amy, call the roll.
John Pendleton.
Yes.
Paul Simpson.
Yes.
Edward Smith.
Yes.
Johnny Norris.
Yes.
Chris Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is our department heads. First up is Police Chief Neil Burke.
Mr. Mayor, Board, in the month of March, we answered 90 incident calls. We worked 13 accidents with no serious injury. We issued 227 citations. Also, we've received a $5,000 grant from the Governor's Highway Safety Program. And with this grant, we have purchased 3 new in-car cameras to replace some that's unrepairable. And last Saturday night, our night shift was working and had a report of a stolen vehicle that was stolen up in Kentucky from a gentleman that just got out of the pen up there. And his ex-wife lived in Selma. So I guess he wanted to come see her. But one of the officers got behind him and he kind of wrecked the truck a little bit. So we recovered the truck and made a good arrest.
Thank you. Any questions from them? Next is the fire department, but Anthony Carr is out. He is out of town on some training, so we'll skip down to Parks and Rec, fill them.
had my report there. We had a busy month during the month of March, and April doesn't look any slower. We just seem to keep getting more and more rentals and more events that we've got going on. I can tell you that, I got a message, my email was messed up most of the day today, and as I went back to the, community center a few moments ago before I came down here, I had gotten it running, and I had gotten a message from Miss Mary Bava at Lawson Associates about the welcome signs, and I'm not sure what is going on. She says that, design team has not gotten the approval yet to do got the TDOT approval. So I'm not sure what she's telling me. She told me that I needed to look at this list, so I don't know if we're having to go back and look at some more or what's going on, but I'll let you know about that just as soon as I know. Farmers Market concerts, summer concert starts this weekend. We've got, the Lighthouse Singers coming from Savannah. That'll be our gospel group at the, Farmers Market Saturday night, starting at 5. We've just got a lot of different things, got a lot of things in the makes that we're looking to make and do. So if you got any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer them.
You got any comments on that from Dixie Park?
Dixie Park is, we're closing one grant out Thursday and opening or applying for a new one on, Friday. It's due in at Nashville on Friday at, 4 o'clock. So we'll be applying for phase 2 of Dixie Park. What we are doing out there right now, I'm sure you've noticed the benches and the picnic tables and everything we've had go up. When they came down, we have to have an ADA table on a concrete pad. So that was the only thing during the post-inspection that we're having to go back and redo. And, we've got our handicap parking space there, and we're putting down the pad tomorrow, and that should be ready Thursday for me to turn in pictures. So we'll be closing that grant out. Can I go ahead and do this, or do you want me to wait till later in the agenda?
Let's wait, I'll put it on our
Oh,
phone.
that's fine. That's fine.
Well, I'll tell you what, just go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. I come, change hats and go to a different, thing. I'm not, I didn't get this in your packet. This is, I'm on the committees with the health department and, school coordinating help, the extension office and all. Last year was our first year to do, or I'm sorry, last year was our second year to hold the, Family Fitness Day in the park, 5210. Can anybody tell me what 5210 stands for? My friends over here. I have friends here tonight, from the committee, Miss Pam Carroll, Miss Beth Hamilton, Miss Sheldon Moore. 5210 stands for 5 vegetables or fruits a day, 2 hours or less of TV, 1 hour of activity, and 0 sugars.
Sugar drinks.
Sugar free. Oh,
Sugar drinks.
we're looking for sponsors and supporters of this group this year. What the money does that we raise for it, we actually just take the money and put back into our publicity and to help host the event. We just get community sponsors, and, I mean, if you come to one of them in the past couple of years, we just have a lot of fun that day. I think this past year we had probably close to 1,000. I think we figured between 800 and 1,000 that was out there, and, that participated. We have this, health station set up around the walking track. We do lots and lots and lots of activities, and we have a 2-mile fun run and walk. So, I guess what I'm here for on behalf of this group is to ask for your support and see if y'all would like to do a sponsor, something for the event.
Now, what's this 5 stand for? Food?
5 stands for 5 vegetables or fruits a day.
You know what they are? Or just eat that many?
Eat that many. Eat that many. Can I name 5 vegetables? Was that a trick question?
No.
Like I said, if you'd like to make a donation or any kind of support.
Do we do it, what do we do anything last year on there?
No, sir, this is actually the first time that we've come before this board and asked for, a donation and sponsorship money.
What do you think would be probably
Well,
half,
just, I mean, we're really, you know, we're
And a dollar,
$100, you know, $1, whatever you wanna give, we're, you know, we're.
1,000 would be a line, wouldn't
Move on.
Where everybody goes.
You got a suggestion on that one?
Did somebody make a motion?
Have you got a suggestion on?
You know, it's up to y'all, 250.
I mean, I took that, I make a motion, we donate 250, has been our.
That's great, I mean, we're excited for 250.
Second.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I thought John knew.
okay. Any
Thank
further,
you,
thank you, Sylvia. And thank y'all.
thank you very much.
Any further, questions on that? And we call the roll?
John Pendleton.
Yes.
Johnny Norman.
Yes.
Paul Simpson.
Yes.
Edward Smith.
Yes.
Chris Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is, building inspector, Jim Riplow.
Good evening, Mayor of the board. Month of March, we had one permit pulled for the lean-to carport at the Erie County Council for that part of the building without working. In the planning commission business, they passed a change to zoning ordinance, which y'all will be covering later. And they also had an inquiry about this gas station down here in Old Flash Market. The folks wanted to tear that building down and construct a new one, but due to it being the floodway, that would cause some problems. But we told them what they had to do in order to get the FEMA approval to be able to do anything. And other than that, everything's running pretty smooth.
Are they tearing down or just remodeling?
They don't know yet. I'm gonna say, just with what they've been doing here lately, they're probably just gonna remodel. Which if they just remodel it, they don't have to get the,
That's first one.
yeah, but if they were to tear it down, they would have to get a letter of map and everything, because it's in that floodway.
The only way they could act, they would have to go through the same process if we're doing at the Dixie Park. And that's about your only, I don't agree with it, but that's about the only option that there is. Thank you, Jim. City Attorney, Terry Everett.
Gonna give a board update on home. I'm actually involved in litigation. Hotel occupancy tax and court judgment. Center in that matter, date, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago. And a hearing, so all that means is that the relief we sought in there is granted by default because of an appearance money. But we couldn't enter a dollar amount of money because there's no way to compute that absent their books. So those records have been subpoenaed for a hearing on May, May the 6th is a Monday, that's the date of the hearing. And that will allow me, when I see the books, it allows us to compute the actual amount of tax owed. We'll go from there. Not getting any cooperation, to say the least, but
Not likely we're gonna collect that debt.
you know, I don't know for sure, Chris, I really don't. You know, I don't know anything about that. Once we get a judgment, then there's a process we can go through to discover assets. And I don't know what will happen to continue the business, but I would say that once we get a judgment, probably, we're gonna seek some injunctive relief against the continued operation without remittance of the tax. See if the court won't require them to remit that tax weekly, if they're gonna operate. There's some tough remedies that doesn't necessarily cure money, but it would eliminate the status quo.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Next is, Public Works, Mr. Dag.
Well, I am honored to be able to go after the tabernacle, that just made my night. Oh, for the month of March, we already built 9,183 meters. We repaired 6 natural gas leaks, 27 water leaks, which of those we had 4 main lines busted on last month. We ran 335 work orders, made 6 water taps, and it's rather obvious that everything is already warming up. We were able to run 188 locate tickets. You know, in the winter, you don't run that many, but everybody's getting out doing stuff, so it's more located. The water pumps, 64 million. Sewer treated, 35 million. And if anybody has anything they'd like to have answered, I'll give it a whirl. Thank you much.
Thank you, Rick. Before we move into tonight's agenda, is there anybody, wishing to address the board with anything? If not, okay.
Well, my question is since you became mayor, what is your agenda and how long is it gonna take you to start working on getting some industry in here?
Yeah.
Create some jobs.
Good question. Currently, we have been working with MRA, attended several meetings, just got back from a WIA conference, which is the Workforce Investment Act. They help people, that's associated with Southwest. I'm a board member with them. Attended a conference with them, trying to work with them. They work with 13 different industries right now. 13 different businesses in Marion County. Trying to extend those jobs. Now, the solar farm is starting to hire, I believe, tomorrow. About 200 plus jobs that they're gonna hire, which is temporary. But I say temporary, we're looking at about 1.5 years, 2 years at the most. But the solar farm is in the process of trying to build another two more solar farms, which would actually make that a 4-year deal, which would also increase the employees. I've been talking to a restaurant owner, and I know you mentioned industry, and it's a tough thing. We're just getting started, and 3 months in, I think we're making progress. There is one business in town that's moving location. They're staying in town, but they're moving locations. They're gonna build a new facility, add 2,000 square feet to that. Of course, we're working on the Dixie Park, trying to get that going. I've got some items in the budget for capital outlay, which will help bring more people to town. Spectrum's adding businesses. We've worked hard with Monogram. That's a few weeks old, but it is several employees. United Stainless is in the process of expanding. They're adding some employees. Of course, John's on the industrial board, and we're looking at a couple of different pieces of property. I attended a meeting the other day with with IDB, the Industrial Development Board, but with a gentleman that came down here from, working on some data processing. How could we market Selmer, and how could we market property that we're looking at to get some data processing jobs in here? That's just one example. Go ahead.
The biggest thing when we're looking at industry, well, first, you can't do it overnight, and you can't do it in a year. The problem we've got now is we've got to get some land level sites to build on. We have nothing. And we're looking at 3 or 4 different sites to possibly purchase, because when these industries come in, they want 20 or 30 acres, and they're wanting to invest $20 million. But if you don't have level land for them to build on, they're going right to the next stop. So that's the biggest thing. And since I've been on the industrial board, it's opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that's going on. And there's a lot of things in place we're working to try to get industry in. It just don't happen overnight. Like John said, you know, keeping the ones we got and watching them expand like Monogram, Spectrum is expanding like crazy. To be honest, they're looking for more room. It's a huge plus for us here. But as far as bringing industry in, you've got to work at that. It's a constant thing, and it takes time. I know Adamsville, there's a place looking over there. You've got to be certified by the state. So there's a whole lot goes into it than just, you know, them popping up and building. So everybody's been proactive. If you want to come to the industrial board meeting, come. I mean, it's proactive. We're working at it. You know, like I said, John was there the other day. The data processing thing could turn out to be a huge win for us. Big thing with that is Pickwick's update to their lines, their fiber optics they put in. That's going to be a huge plus to us. And plus marking this area as a green energy place with Strata. They're a $1 billion company, and they chose this area, and there's not, I don't know if there's another solar farm in the state of Tennessee.
When I was in Washington DC last weekend, I met some folks that had already heard about the solar farm going in right here where I live, right here where you live. So, and like John said, there is different jobs out there that want to be near that green source. And data processing for some reason is one of them. Google is another. I mean, I'm just throwing out a few, but I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
But yes, I have been busy and working every day towards it.
Well, I talked to you last. You told me you were going to Washington. I just hadn't seen you.
Yeah.
Just wanted to update what you found out when you was up there, and just seeing how things are working, because it's a major concern for me.
Yeah, me too.
Because of our young people, it's keeping them here. They have to travel out for jobs, and we need to work at that hard. And I understand what John is saying. I'm not ignorant to it. I know a little bit about it.
Right.
So, I know you got to work at it. I know about the level of the land, and offering them incentives and stuff like that. So, that's something we really need to be working at hard. If you
Well, we're gonna be on the top of the list when this solar farm gets to be put in. It's fixing to put us on a whole another level.
I'm just curious, obviously the Chinese aren't gonna give our jobs back on a large scale. Is there a trend nationwide for mama and papa shops to show up again? Small businesses, 20, 30 employees? Is there any kind of trend at all?
I think so, and I talked to.
See, they don't want 20 and 30 employees. They've had the mama and papa shops. They wanted to have boys, and they've got our big ones. So I'm saying is there something happening, different than fighting for one big plant? I take 20 little ones that employ 30 people.
Yes.
Is that out of the realm, or have you seen this anywhere?
I do see it. I guess I'd kind of say we've been, of course, the industrial board's kind of been focused on, I guess, big stuff. I've been trying to hit on some people for what I could, and it's on lines with what you're saying. It's 10 to 12 jobs here you know, 10 to 12 jobs there. So I definitely, I mean, you're on something. I agree with you. I'd like to, I mean, listen, we're trying to get anything right now. But we're fighting against, you know, there's a million Selma, Tennessee's out there. And it seems like everybody's fighting for the same piece, or piece of pie, rather. We're just gonna have to market what we have, and I think we're gonna be able to utilize and be able to, work off the solar farm. To help quite a bit. Dan?
Yeah, a few merchants uptown here asked me to bring this before the board. About uptown here, it's like 2 hour parking. And they told me a lot of these cars set up here all day long in the same spot. And then one asked me if I'd bring it before you all, see if maybe you could see about trying to do something about that. They appreciate it.
Okay. We'll talk about it. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move into, there is no old business, so we'll move into the new business. First on the, agenda is board's approval for the request from the street department to purchase a 2004 street paver. And the city currently does not have a street paver. And again, this is an 04. We're looking to purchase this so we can do some serious patchwork on several streets.
I'm not going to purchase.
Motion by Paul Sampson, second by Edward Smith. Any further questions?
Let me say, we've got a lot of streets in Selma that, need a paving. We also got a lot of maybe short streets that we can do ourselves to use out of this paver to do those short streets. We'd like to hire into, and we're gonna try to do some bigger streets, but what we wanna do right now is, and they recommended that they can use this street paver to pave short streets. So I think it would be good to start getting these streets paved.
Any further questions? We have a motion and a second, and call the roll.
John Henderson,
Yes.
Johnny Garner,
Yes.
Paul Simpson.
Yes.
Edward Span.
Yes.
Chris Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next on the agenda is a requested donation from Arts and McNary to help with the utility bills at the Latta building.
I'll make that motion, the amount that they requested, $5,000. Second.
I think the citizens need to know what we're talking about. This is a county-owned building, so you'll understand what we're using city money for. This is a county-owned building. They're asking us to pay their light bills in a county-owned building. Do we need to use the city money to pay county light bills? I don't think, do we have money in the budget for this job?
Well, it's a good question, and the $5,000, I'm not real sure.
We're close to the end of the budget year.
Yeah, and that's major. I'm not exactly for sure where y'all want me to pull it out of. Yes, it's doable. I do have a suggestion. I know there's been a motion and there's been a second, so we can discuss it. I didn't mean.
That's okay. I just wanted to know what percentage of that is the cities compared to the counties, part. That 5,000, surely the county's not helping pay any. That's 100% of the city money going to a county building light bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That don't sound hardly logical.
I know, I don't quite understand it either. It's the only county building, the only county building that they own, that they don't pay the utilities at.
Well, it would certainly make more sense to pay a percentage than the whole bill.
They do split the bill between MRA, they pay a portion, and AIM pays a portion. Of course, we had a hard winter. They've exceeded their line items, to pay it. We gave $5,000 17 months ago.
Of course, when you say they had a hard winter, I'm sure the winter wasn't any different here in the city, was it? Our light bills went up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's all I had to say about it. I mean, 100% seems excessive.
Jason, I don't know if we're looking at this as $5,000 necessary for the light bill. What I got from Sean and members of AIM was this is $5,000 to help them get to where they need to be. Keep in mind that AIM is in a county building, but they're obligated to pay part to be in the county building. They really do a lot for this community. If you look at our new website, they've got 2 murals on the website that the city has about $5,000 invested in, and AIM has about $18,000 plus invested in. They directly impact more than 2,000 youth every year. They make an indirect impact of about $400,000 to the city of Selma. They are in the city of Selma because the Latta building's in the city of Selma. The arts and culture that we get from AIM, the park, the service that they provide. Not every kid out there plays football or basketball. A lot of kids are into theater, and this is good to have the arts and culture in our community. We don't have big sports venues in Selma to keep people here overnight spending their money. We do have AIM. And we're shooting ourselves in the foot if we don't keep AIM healthy and support arts in that area, in my opinion. There's dozens of other bullet points that I could pull up. They've been recognized by the Library of Congress for excellence in rural cultural preservation. They're very instrumental in getting the grant for the Latta building, period. And when something happens in the Latta building, Selma has the greatest impact from it because the Latta building is located right here. So
I don't think anybody disputing what you're saying at all, Chris. That is very important. I think the lady came before the board yesterday afternoon, she said this is definitely to pay their utility bill. Nothing else. She said this is the utility bill. We need money to pay our utility bill. Well, I think John talked with the county mayor. I think he acknowledged that it should be the county paying it, but the county's not paying it for some reason or all like it. And the issue is, should the city pay the light bill? What'll be the difference if we pay the light bill in the courthouse? It's a county building too, sitting there in the middle of the cell. I mean, that's the issue. Should we or should we not pay their light bill or pay part of their light bill with city money? It's not that, I don't dispute what you're saying.
yeah, I'm not getting that from Sean. I'm getting it to help them get through on their day-to-day expenses. And they came across us for the young lady that was the light bill, but I'm not sure that's really 100% light bill. I think they need some help right now. They're not getting it. They need it to continue operating. This 18 months ago, I agree totally that we shouldn't keep doing this indefinitely, but they're getting going, and I think that if we don't support this, that we're losing as a community, not having this in our community.
Well, I do believe that they don't need to, look at us when they come to us every time. But if you look at the overall effect AIM has, the festivals they have, those people come in and spend money at every business in this town, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We don't have a big sports complex because nowadays, if you got a traveling team, you play Friday, you play Saturday, and they keep you Sunday. This is the only thing right now we've got going to bring people into this community for things, and we need to, like Chris said, we need to support them. And I understand. I don't want them to always, in a time of need, come to us and ask us for money, but looking at the benefits they bring to the community throughout the year, I'm not going to not help them. If you look at what comes into this town, you take AIM away, we don't have the brewing corn, we don't have the Fall Festival, we don't have all these rockabilly, we don't have all this other stuff that they've got this hand in. So, and you got to look at the overall aspect.
Well,
Hopefully this issue can get worked out with the county.
John, if we're not sure where are we sure where the money's going? Is it going for a light bill, or is it going for helping them out on other things, or are we sure about where the money's
It's going
going?
to AIM, and then what they have, the bills they have to pay.
It looks like if we were gonna give that much money specifically, we would wanna know where it was gonna be directed, you know. We don't wanna spend $5,000 on toilet paper. You know, times are tough everywhere. We had a hard winter just like everybody else did right here in the city. This light bill right here in this building went up. I would see a difference if there was a part of that being paid by the county and then the city helping out with the other part. But what I'm hearing is absolutely no money coming in there from the city on supposedly what's been told a light bill. That's my thoughts on it.
John, I don't think it's a question of whether we're gonna support Ames or whether we're gonna support MRA or anything. That's not the question, whether we're gonna support them or not. You know, I'm a great supporter of Ames. I'm a great supporter of anything that gets industry in the Magnet County, the Lava building, the Pine building and all. But for us, for the city to pay the utility bill on a county-owned building, I think that's the question. So, and it's not a question of whether we're for Ames or we're for MRA or what, it's not the question.
Can we cover that? Can we cover it?
Well, I had a suggestion, I know, and I'm Chris, I don't mean to step on the toes at all, but there was a motion and a second, but I did have something I was gonna throw at. The $5,000 is a pretty big lick. I was gonna see what you thought about it. If you divided $5,000 by 12 months, that's $416 a month. You multiply that times 3, which is April, May, and June. It's $1,248. And that would give me some time to try to figure out in the budget the remaining portion of it, to try to move some numbers around and find the remaining money. It was just a thought.
In other words, if we approve, say, $1,500 now and put in the budget next year for the rest, is that what you're saying?
That,
Roughly
If that's
$1,500.
appropriate, that's appropriate, I think.
it was a thought.
I think there's some negotiation between you and the county on this problem.
Yeah, and I've been working with the county mayor on it.
Could we change the motion to that,
You can amend it.
or amend?
I'm not sure what you're asking for.
Instead of giving $5,000 today, say we give $1,500 to get through the next 3 months, and let me try to push the numbers for the new budget, which starts July 1.
How did you did the math, based on 12 months, they came to us 18 months ago or 17 months ago and asked for this money.
Well, they're $1,900 behind right now, so I didn't figure the
So
5,000 was gonna go far.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about, they're behind now, so we're not, but we're not, if we give 1,500, we're not even getting them out of vote.
It was just a suggestion.
I make a motion to amend that motion to give $1,500.
Well, I'll second that, keep it from dying, but do we need to make it 2,000 to 1,500, I guess, for 1,900 behind, what we need to?
You wanna just do?
2,000, I'm making that 1,500, 2,000.
You wanna just split it and do half, 4,500?
And that,
And then they wouldn't get those.
whichever one you want to do.
2,500, I amended to 2,500.
Okay, I'll second that.
Motion is by Paul Simpson, second by Mr. Smith, 2,500. Any further discussion? And would you call the roll?
Call the roll on the amendment.
You have to vote on the amendment first.
John Fennessy,
Yes.
Johnny Norris,
Yes.
Paul Simpson, Edward Smith,
Yes.
Chris Toll.
Yes.
Amendment passes. Do we need to go ahead and?
Vote on the motion then.
Do we need to, since this amendment is passed?
We need to, I think we need to take a vote on the main motion too.
Okay.
Didn't you just withdraw?
Yeah, he could withdraw
Okay,
if you want.
Well, the motion.
We've amended the motion. Now we need to vote on the motion as amended.
Okay. John Fennessy,
Yes.
Johnny Norris,
Yes.
Paul Simpson.
Yeah.
Edward Smith. Chris Cole.
Yes.
Amended motion passes.
Thank you. Next is a resolution to approve application for LPRF grant for phase 2 of the Dixie property.
I explained this yesterday about the prices and everything. I gave you a price list. We also, I talked with Marley Hughley, with the, community grant group, and we're going to add in the splash pad project with the, commitment from the leadership group that they will raise $46,000 and then the $10,000, income. So that's what this resolution is for.
You're turning that in Friday.
It's due in Friday at 4 o'clock. I guess just to give the audience a little update on it, the project is gonna include a parking area on the back side of the Dixie and the front there where the Dixie used to sit. We're gonna pave that and make that a parking lot, and then also a restroom out there. And then a splash pad put out there in the front part of the Dixie property.
Just the resolution where we asking to add the matching fund. Is that the
It's just for the
resolution?
matching fund, yes, sir. And as you remember, we're still using our $123,000 value of our land that was left.
Right.
And then we're gonna use, the match of the splash pad and then the $10,000 in income. So we're still looking at very minimum.
I make that motion and we'll pass the resolution.
Motion by Paul Simpson, second by Edward Smith. Any further discussion? And Ms. Jones, go.
I'll just need to get one of those
Yes.
signed by everybody.
Johnny Norris,
Yes.
Paul Simpson.
Yeah.
Edward Smith.
Yeah.
Chris Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next on the agenda is a first reading of an ordinance to change the language concerning beer license revocation. And just real quickly, what this is, Terry has helped prepare this, and if you want to tell it, I can either way. It's just a language change. If a beer permit holder was to get their beer license revoked for a year, that would not apply to a new business under a different ownership and under a different name at that same location.
That's it. Yeah, I think the practical effect of this was done West Atlanta, I think it makes sense to me. We were penalizing the place as opposed to penalizing the person. And the practical way to look at it would be, if somebody's willing to go down here to the Citgo and spend a lot of money to renovate it, then if they're otherwise qualified to obtain a beer permit, I think the thought is that we don't want to penalize the place. And that we might get a new store or something. So it just removes the provision that a place is penalized. Now, if an individual or a permit holder, whether it's an individual, corporation, whoever, if their license is revoked, they're on the sidelines for at least a year, and they have to come back. This just does not penalize the place. Is that right?
Sounds right to me.
Okay.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Chris Cole, second by John Pendleton. Any further discussion?
No, I'm just curious, how in the world, in the case of the Indian people, how in the world do you keep up with who's there now? They give it to aunts and uncles within a year's time. Anyway, aunt's got it, or uncle's got it next year, and brother's got it. I'm not seeing those people hold it much more than a year anyway, have you? So no matter what you do to it, the man is going. But that's interesting, you gotta deal with that.
These people were divinized out in different parts of the country.
Yeah, I've got one that, I mean, they beat me constantly, they're gone, my uncle's here tomorrow, you know.
Call for the question.
Damage control.
John Henderson,
Yes.
Johnny Norman,
Yes.
Paul Simpson,
Yes.
Edward Slayton,
Yes.
Bruce Cole,
Yes.
motion carries.
Next on the agenda is the first reading of a zoning ordinance in relation to submittal of site plans to be submitted in digital PDF format. And Jim can explain that. Johnny, I think that you asked me about that, but I think it got voted on about 2 seconds before you got to that meeting.
Oh,
so-
okay.
But, Jim?
What it is, it just changes the, zoning to where they will need to submit a site plan that is actually a digital site plan in a PDF format. It's not gonna affect the small operations that still do paper. It's just gonna make that the preferred, medium, because for storage and this, that, and the other. I mean, I've got 2 chests back there full of maps that, you know, you could store the same amount digitally on a disk. So, I mean, it's just practicality. And it's, for the ease of getting it to the planner too, being able to email them to him.
But they still can bring in the hard copy.
Yes, they can still bring in the hard copy. That was made plain during the meeting, that they would still be able to bring in a hard copy if they have to.
I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Paul Sampson, second by Johnny Norris. Any further discussion? Damage control.
John Henderson,
Yes.
Johnny Norman,
Yes.
Paul Simpson,
Yes.
Edward Slayton,
Yes.
Bruce Cole,
Yes.
motion carries.
And lastly, on the, agenda tonight, is the first reading of an ordinance amending the beer sales on Sunday. Several weeks back, one of our aldermen came, asked me to at least get the ordinance prepared. I did do that, as asked. I will make a comment before we get into it that I do not support it. I am against it. But however, I did prepare the ordinance as prepared, and if you want to, John, I'll let you.
Well, all I was trying to do, I've seen plenty of people, I mean, I'm not asking anybody to buy beer on Sunday that don't want to buy beer on Sunday, but what I'm seeing is people going to Bethel Springs, Adamsville, other places other than Selmer to buy their beer on Sunday, and I just think those tax dollars ought to stay in Selmer. And that is the point behind asking him to prepare this. It's something I support, and I would like to move forward with it.
We just have more drunk drivers on Sunday, that's what you're saying.
I'm pretty sure there's not gonna be anybody buying beer that don't already buy beer. That we're just changing the
Let them continue to
location to
buy it
where
in Bethel
we can
Springs
profit
or wherever
off
they
the.
find it at.
Well-
Do it at
Well, but they're going to Bethel or Adamsville, and if they're driving drunk, they're coming right back to Selma.
Well, I think if the numbers were actually crunched on how much tax dollars it would probably actually bring in versus the people that would probably not support those businesses on account of beer sales on Sunday, I would think you would find that the coffers are less than, what you would bring in on the beer. I would say you would probably not even have enough tax dollars brought in on Sunday beer sales to send two men down here to Main Street to fix a pothole. Just because everybody around us is tearing down the moral fibers, Adamsville, Bethel, or whatever, we're still in the Bible Belt. And I've drank enough beer to fill this room up. I know what beer drinking is. And if a man ain't got enough sense to buy it on Saturday, that he's got to drive all the way over to Adamsville or Bethel to get it, it's like a can of pork and beans. If I ain't got it at the house on Sunday, I'm gonna wait till Monday to get it when I'm fixing dinner. If you've got to drive all the way to Adamsville, you got a problem. People getting out of church, 12 o'clock, don't want to see 12 o'clock beer sales opened up on Sunday and be around them people's got a problem. Ain't got a problem against drinking. I'm not trying to run alcohol out of the county. I believe it's a fine thing. If that's what a man wants to do it within the law, that's fine. But Sunday beer sales, Selma takes 2 steps forward with great parts, different things that they're trying to get in here with the kids, different deals that they're trying to get going. They'll take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. This beer sales on Sunday is one of the steps back that you're losing. So that's my opinion of it, and I respect anybody else that wants to have it on Sunday.
Well, and my opinion differs from yours.
I guess we're discussing it before we do anything else, so I'll throw mine in too if we're gonna do that. Okay. Of course, I'm strongly opposed to it. As John Mayer said, he's opposed to it. I can't see any point in it whatsoever. I think it's a slap in the face to church-going people that try to worship on the Sabbath day and keep the Lord's Day holy. We have not had beer sales in Selma on Sunday. I don't see any need whatsoever to do it now. Just like Jeff was saying there, if a person wants to drink, that's their business. They won't drink beer. I'm not going to condemn them for it. I don't myself, but that's the point. If they want it, like he said, they can buy it on Saturday. There's no reason they have to wait till Sunday to buy it. I don't think we take in no money to amount to anything extra on Sunday, unless somebody just decided, well, since they're open on Sunday, I won't buy it today, I'll wait tomorrow. Overall, it's the same thing. It just don't make any sense to me at all to change the ordinance we've got to like, as far as I know, no business in town asks for it. Nobody has said a word about any business asking for it whatsoever. This is something one of the aldermen came up with, so he said himself, and I think it's wrong, and I think if we do it, people are gonna remember it when it goes forward. And that's my opinion.
Let me make one more point on that. Edward, you're correct. When it does go to a poll, people are not going to forget the ones that's opposed to it. The ones that's for it, I'm sure they'll remember too. But the ones that are opposed to it will remember. I'll tell you that right now. And if they don't, I'll be sure to remind them. I've got a big mouth, as most of you know. I remember when this town had a beer joint on every corner. You couldn't drive up and down. We had them on the hill. We had the bottom end. We had one over here at the other side of town, the Murrays. When you go monkeying around with these beer laws, where does it stop? I don't want to see a beer joint in Selma again. I don't have a problem with anybody to drink. Anybody that wants to go to a beer joint, drink it up. But the fact is, you're monkeying with beer laws, and when you do that, it gets kind of a gray area. I'm done.
Let me also add that I'm obviously from a religious standpoint, I don't support it one bit, but also not from a religious standpoint, from a moral standpoint, as I said a minute ago, we're slowly seeing more and more young people just getting every opportunity to get alcohol. I know they can get on Saturdays just as good as they can get on Mondays or Sundays, but why are we going to show them that we're just getting more and more approval to it? Why are we going to continue to push? Because just like he said, the next thing you know, you're gonna start bringing more people here that do support that, and all of a sudden you're gonna have people that are gonna want to start voting in to be open liquor stores and beer joints and everything else, and it's just gonna fall out and you say, yeah, we get tax money from it, but that goes back to where you weigh. Is it worth the tax money to start seeing the chiefs having to respond to drunk driving and crashes and stuff, and fire department having to respond to fatality accidents?
I don't think beer joints are going to spring forth from this at all. I don't think that would ever fly, to be honest with you.
Let me say one thing.
Connect those dots.
I'm sorry, I don't hear, if somebody else talking, I don't mean to cut anybody off. I've been on this board for 24 years. And I don't know whether the people like me personally that much, I really don't know, but I do think one thing that they do, I have tried to do and vote the way the community wants me to vote. Now, I'm not saying the community's always right, but I'm not right, but that's what we're elected for. We're elected to vote as the people in the community want you to vote. And that's what I've tried to do, and that's why I think I got reelected, because for what it is, I've tried to do what, because people, the voters are a lot smarter than we give them credit for it. And I think I know what they want, and I think the majority of people in Selma don't want beer sales on Sunday. And if we're gonna open this up into discussion, we ought to poll or whatever, see what the people think. And Johnny, I don't think you talked to anybody in the town about whether they want beer sales or not, have you?
Well, the people I have talked to want it.
They do?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Who did you talk to, Johnny?
Well, I haven't talked to you, but I mean,
This is Kenneth Sweat, let's listen to him a minute.
It's interesting that you say that, and I'd like to know, what you're speaking about, because I'm willing to identify myself. Let me first of all tell you what I am and what I stand for. Deacon, active deacon, First Baptist, and Baptists are against drinking. Property owner, and that's what I want to speak about, is my experiences related to property owning and my experience with people drunk on beer. Now, obviously, I can speak on marijuana and crack. Over the last 40 years, I've seen a lot of stuff, okay? When we mentioned this in the deacons meeting at the church yesterday, there wasn't a single one that was even in any remote way very pleased at hearing that this referendum is coming up. But I'm not here speaking on behalf of First Baptist Church. I'm here speaking on my experiences I've seen with beer. Now, you could argue beer, half of 1% to 12% is beer, and wine is a half of 1% to 12%. And biblically, there was wine, and I'm not here to argue that. And a good cold beer might be the finest thing in the world. But personally, I've seen beer in just irresponsible people. And I'm not saying there's a responsible drunk. I don't think there is a responsible person, because that's a chemical stimulant. Why do you drink it? It doesn't taste good to some people. In fact, I'm acquiring an excellent taste for water with a little lemon in it now. Beer doesn't encourage you. It's a chemical stimulant that makes you calm down, Johnny. But it makes John Phillison fine. And Chris, I can see already was all done. And I say this because I watched a big boy push a cart and steal from me for years. Couldn't ever catch him. He on his way to Smith Metal and then up to the Northwide Joint to buy his quart of, I could tell you what he drunk. I used to get his bottles. I was one bottle away from the joint. And I thought, I'll someday get you for stealing from me, and never could catch him. But what that boy finally did, and I think he would not have done it had it not been under chemical stimulant, he now is classified a child molester. I helped one of my tenants, and they says, what I'm saying is not that everybody drinks a beer does it. I'm saying that availability of a chemical stimulant in the people who cannot handle it. I'm talking about the people, a person, responsible person who wants to take a 6-pack or a case of beer to the lake or a tailgate party on Sunday afternoon, he'll buy it Friday, Saturday. But he's got boat fuel, he's got his boat ready. That's just one more thing behind it. A responsible person will have his beer. I mean, how many of you drink beer doesn't have it in your refrigerator now? You buy it on Friday, you buy it on Saturday. You know, you don't have to wait till Sunday. You get paid on Thursday and Friday, that's when they normally buy it. I was trying to get one beer. I was trying to get a boy up in his house. I was called down there, one of my tenants, had him in my arm, beer. Two guys got to drinking beer. One of them got horny. The other one got mad because he made a pass at his wife. I'm holding this dude, trying to get him inside, and all of a sudden the guy pops up with a pistol put right at his collar, saying, I'm gonna blow, and he describes it, if you ask it, his head off. You know, just because they have a few extra beers. Now, I'm saying beer, whatever it is, but beer in this case, placed in those type of hands, those type of people, make them do things they normally wouldn't do. A boy killed another one. He and his brother were all drinking. This is again, I'm personal experience with it. Now, what I'm saying to you is, leave well enough alone. They can't buy it on Sunday. If they're responsible and can drink responsibly, they'll buy it on Friday or Saturday. Not gonna keep them killing each other. Not gonna keep them having your refrigerator. I'm saying in this part of the country, there is no excuse to let the greed of tax dollars make you turn around and start slipping away. That one of the things, and in fact, I know you're a very intelligent person, John. Get on the internet and find out what's taking place at tobacco as far as the nation's health issue. Get on the internet and see what kills 1 out of every 25 people. And you're gonna find that both of those collect alcohol. Now, I'm not saying we're gonna reform everybody. I'm not gonna say we'll make it like a drink. I'm just saying there's no excuse for making it easier and easier for those type of uncontrollable drinkers to have easier access to it 7 days a week. Let them sober up on Sunday. Get drunk again on Monday. I don't think you're gonna be received very well at all. And why? Then let's look at another standpoint. You finally are getting churches interacting with civic organizations and communities. I mean, my church is greatly involved in Jesus Cares, Habitat for Humanity, and we even did civic project, you know, First Baptist Love Selma. We're considering 2 projects this year. Now, that to me, just from and I'm not talking from a church standpoint, I'm talking about from a common sense standpoint. You know, wouldn't that be kind of a slap in the face of your good old buddies trying now to build a relation with you? I mean, don't let your greed for a couple dollars from taxes make you make a foolish move like this. If you're not against it, then at least abstain from voting. But I encourage you guys, it ain't worth it.
Mayor, due to what we've heard tonight, I'd like to make a motion that this ordinance be removed from consideration by this board tonight.
Second that motion.
Motion by Edward Smith, second by Paul Simpson to take it off the agenda tonight. Is there any further discussion? Pam, would you call the roll?
John Pilson,
No.
Johnny Norris,
No.
Paul Simpson,
Yes.
Edward Smith,
Yes.
Chris Cole. Motion fails.
And to follow that up, I would like to make a motion that the ordinance change be approved.
I'll second that.
Motion by Johnny Norris, second by Chris Toll. Any further discussion?
I would just, we've already discussed, I'm not going to, but I'd just like to remind everybody, and especially people who write this in the paper, this is amendment to our bill ordinance that we have now. So it has to be on 2 readings. This is the first reading. And I would ask the people in Selma to let these aldermen know what they think before the second reading, and that would be in May. So, I appreciate getting in the pipe for that one.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Pam, would you call the roll?
John Benson,
Yes.
Johnny Norris,
Yes.
Paul Simpson,
No.
Edward Smith.
No.
Chris Cole,
Yes.
motion carried.
Real quickly, before, that's the last thing on the agenda tonight, but I wanted to show y'all this. This is a letter, that came into the mail to, several people in Selma. And, it's, I talked to Richard about it. This actually came from one of my family members, but it's trying to get money, sent to them, saying that they'll help you with your water line if it ever gets busted. And, it's a total scam. It goes all the way up to $6,000 annually for $4.99 a month, $4.99 a month, or $14.97 a quarter, or whatever, $60 per year. But anyway, this is not from the town of Selma. It's a total scam, and I just gonna tell you about it because it's already been mentioned to me. That was my idea, but anyway, had nothing to do with that, so throw that away. Anything
Make a
else?
motion with John.
Motion, second. Meeting adjourned. Thank y'all for coming.
No, that's on the plan.